Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, we've had the very big Season 3.5 balance patch, change a lot of aspects for a lot of characters in Dragon Ball FighterZ, and of course now with that tradition holding, hey, it's the winners and losers of the patch video, and I gotta tell you, it's basically all winners. This has been a great patch. Pretty much everyone that got affected, it was for the better. Although, unfortunately, some people weren't affected, and for some people, like Kid Buu, that's a bullet dodged, right? But for some people, like a Zamasu, they're just sitting there in the doldrums and like kind of waiting for something, anything, and that didn't happen. So, we'll talk about the winners. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of people got everything. We'll talk about the people who get the big changes, because almost everybody's a winner, right? And when we talk about the losers, it's not so much nerfs, it's just a lot more of complete lack of attention. Okay, so let's start at the top here. Jiren, much maligned character, well, since he launched, right? And the buffs he got are pretty wacky. They're pretty big deal. Not to say the least of which is stuff like the new counter change. So Jiren's counter impact, this guy here, right? So it is now, it gets everything. Like there's no other way to say it. It gets everything. It gets your basic ki blast, right? Obviously enough. It gets projectiles. It now gets attacks. And heck, it even gets dragon rushes and throws. The only thing it cannot get is super attacks. Anything else, no matter how oddball you want to put it, everything I've tested anyways, it wins out clean. So what does that say? Well, it says you really got to pay attention when Jiren wants to put his hands up now. Yes, he has some recovery and he doesn't recover right away, right? So the idea is you're supposed to punch him on the recovery of the window, but he is able to hold it in modular timings. Like it's not all one same timing. So that is a factor as well. And you know, hey, any counter, he gains half a bar, right? From the humble assist to that basic ki blast, any way you want to swing it, it's half a bar he gains. And half a bar, assuming he has any bar to begin with, he's going to be able to vanish out and get roughly 25 to 30% on you every time he gets it for anything you do at any point of the screen. So if this was the only change, which obviously it is not, it is still a big deal, and this is going to basically shape how Jiren play comes for times to come forward from now, right? Now, of course, when that new car smell comes off a bit, right, we're going to be able to figure out how to play around a bit. But yeah, Jiren is finally the defensive wall I feel he was always meant to be, thanks to this change. Of course, on top of this, you know, helping out is neutral because you can just stop and say, okay, if you did anything, you get got. We now have his new and improved ki blast, where up against pretty much most characters in the game, he's going to be able to win out. Now keep in mind, it won't beat beams or nothing, but this move is faster than most beams. So as far as that goes, it's really good for his screen control. His general neutral play has gone up a fair bit. Not to mention the least, I know, once again, I mentioned before I think in a previous video, it's not as sexy, but his down light getting 2 frames faster, I think is a pretty big deal along with the range increase. It really helps out his stagger game and his just general like close-up fussies. Because this move is barely negative on block, so it's very easy to stagger into stuff like this. And you always just basically go, okay, am I doing this? Am I staggering and doing it again? I'm going to stagger this and go for a light, which is a 6-framer. Am I going to do this and delay light? I'm going to do the old counter trick and all that, or I'm just going to do this and Dragon Rush on my second hit instead of my first because he's able to do that. That kind of stuff. So it's just his general stagger game and all that also has gone up. And of course, the grab, it's getting there, it's getting there. It's still not necessarily maybe where it needs to be, but in case you haven't seen the videos, even Goichi himself is getting hit by it now. Oh my god, it's over for everybody, right? Even though this move is slower than most regular grabs, Goichi got hit by it, so yeah. If Goichi can get hit by it at least a couple of times, it's finally fast enough, I guess. So suffice to say, Jiren, hey, finally welcome to the game, buddy. We've been waiting for you. These buffs, they don't make them top tier or nothing, absolutely not. Hey, if you want to be super competitive, there ain't no reason to pick Jiren over Kid Buu. Let's get real about it, right? But hey, he's now worth your pick, and that's all we ever wanted. Okay, so we just come from Jiren. I said, welcome to the game, Jiren, and I'm going to say the same thing for Blue Vegeta. Blue Vegeta has been one of the most directionless characters, if not the most directionless character, since the game's launch. Especially at the game's launch when, man, like, what even was that character, right? And now finally with the buffs he's received in here, man, okay, he's finally a cohesive character after all this time. So first up, and this is the biggest deal, is we got to mention the Ki Blast changes. So with these changes here, just something simple like this where you can just kind of harass, and his Ki Blast harassing is now way better, right? Like, oh cool, if you get the first hit, then you easily get the second hit, and if you get the second hit, it's confirm time, and you can easily confirm into super, and then dump whatever bar you got, right? I think that's pretty fair for some just regular old Ki Blasts. And being as quick as they are, and now thanks to the downwards upward angles one letting him fall, like it doesn't inhibit his momentum, like say Blue Goku's Ki Blast, right? So now if you just do this and you're spamming, you can easily fish for people. Like you're doing this, okay, people get frustrated, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to super dash, right? And at which point, hey, you can land, you can bait it, all that kind of stuff is now available to you, right? Because you fall to the ground very fast, land time for your down heavy. Also, on whiff, you can cancel into a big bang attack, right? So if people are trying to, you know, home in on you, then whatever, that big bang attack, the first part of it here, that's a big old wall. You cannot super dash past that at all, right? So now you can just toss these bad boys out along with big bang attacks, and people trying to just kind of super dash their way in, it's not going to happen. It ain't going to work out for him, right? So he now has a pretty strong neutral approach with these Ki Blasts that didn't exist before. Let's get real, right? So he went from like kind of nothing to now having an amazing harassment plan, an amazing harassment game. You will get sick of these. You can just kind of chuck these and you're going to get tired of it, and you're eventually going to crack, and you're eventually going to super dash. And now he has stuff to stop you from doing that. So that's awesome. He actually has a neutral game. Not to mention, the Ki Blast changes totally revolutionize his combo structure. Like, I'll show you this one here. I just figured this out on my own. I guarantee you there's better stuff out there right now. But just to show you. So look at that. So on a scaling starter, 4,200 damage, which is very good off of Jump H, and over 2 bars gained. That's good by any character standards, like straight up. And once again, that's probably not even optimal. I guarantee you there's better stuff than that out there, right? So that is awesome. Going near the corner, hey, buffed yet again, because it gives so much extra hit stun. You can go for the medium air grab and then just recombo from there. So near corner combo's better. I'm sure mid screen's better yet too, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, his neutral's better and his combos are better. And those are kind of two of the biggest and most important things in Dragon Ball FighterZ, right? So hey, Blue Vegeta, this all incredibly works out for him. So you know what? That's my opinion on the matter, right? So let's toss it to Vegeta. So Vegeta, if you were to rate your changes, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate your changes as?
On a scale of 1 to 10. You're finished!
Well, there you go. He's so overcome with excitement. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a resounding yeah! So there you go. I think Blue Vegeta, he's doing pretty good now. So Tien definitely got a lot to work with. In fact, in the main Season 3 patch at the start of the year, I also said Tien was one of the big winners because he got a lot. Like the addition of Limit Break made him so much stronger as an anchor, because then all of a sudden, you know, good old EX grab and do a shotgun. That's a significant chunk of change right there. On top of the fact he got so many more tools to play with, like EX TK chops, instant overheads and all that. Like he became a way stronger character, and he kind of still got slept on, right? And now here we are in the Season 3.5 patch, and he got all the more the same again. Not the least of which I did bring up in the patch visual guide, is when you're in your Limit Break, your Tri-Beams and Neo Tri-Beams take less health. And that was a change in Season 3 that they took less health, and now they take even less health, to the point where now, if you're in Limit Break and you're in your Sparking Blast Tri-Beam, it's free. Doesn't take any health. So yeah, that's pretty decent, right? The other big thing here is the falling property on Dodon Ray. So since he falls to the ground, you can just kind of jump and do it, and then just own a ridiculous amount of the screen, because the beam itself is all active, right? It's only a single hit, so if it hits, it hits, and if you touch any part of it, it goes off, right? And since he falls with it, that means now this beam is traveling the screen, right? So it is just a giant wall of hitbox that now kind of works in a way other beams don't, because beams are fairly static. You're in whatever position you're in and you do them, right? This now travels, and since it travels, like, you just get to own a lot of real estate in a way other characters cannot. So it could be just as simple as you just like jumping back and doing this, right? And mildly difficult to get in on. Like, it's not something you want to do forever, because it's just as easy as like super jumping your way past it, right? Doing it. And of course, if you just want the same version you had classically in there, you can hold down and get it, right? But yeah, very similar to Dr. Doom in Marvel vs. Capcom. We used to call that the butter gun. So yeah, this is another tool he has. And the other stuff too, like Chaozu, right? Like Chaozu, his damage got buffed. Chaozu already being an incredibly damaging level 3, that's why it's a 1 of, right? And now he'll do a minimum, the least amount it can do is 26% damage. 2,610 specifically. So, yeah. Yeah, so any random combo you do like the most basic B&B into whatever, right? You can now just add Chaozu at the end, and that's a quarter of their life. So yeah, it's a big deal. And stuff like the Tien B assist. Tien B assist was a very interesting assist. I guess most directly comparable to Gotank's A assist. And now it's faster and neutral, right? So they got 10 frames shaved off it, making it just a lot more usable in block strings and general usage, all that kind of stuff. And plus, you know, a fun little fact is it is the only other assist in the game, besides base Goku's B assist, that gives you meter. It gives you about I don't know, about a quarter of a bar each time you do it, or rather a quarter of a section of a bar. Let's put it that way, right? So it's interesting. It's better, and yeah, Tien's just better all around across the board. I think Tien was slept on. He's better than most people give him credit for, and all the better yet. So, in my opinion, those three are the biggest winners of the patch. Now, that said, I do want to toss out a bunch of honorable mentions here. I don't want to go as in depth. And yes, I got Videl here. We'll talk about her in a second. But actually, I want to talk about Broly. Broly, yeah, he didn't get nerfed. That's awesome. And his B assist change is more legit than you think. So, yes, it makes it much more in line with Super Saiyan Vegeta's A assist. As it's much more comparable now in terms of how far back and how far up it goes, which is great. But since Broly is higher up now, what that means is this. So Super Saiyan Vegeta, A assist doesn't go full screen. Never did, right? Broly does. So, just saying on that one. If you wrote off that assist before, I highly suggest you kind of work your way back to it, because it's really good. So Videl also got quite a bit as well. And the biggest thing is now she's just an absolute buzzsaw. The change to her down heavy specifically just makes a lot more possible. So let's show you example corner combo, which I'm sure isn't even close to optimal. It's just what I know right now. But yeah, so really cool stuff. So something like that. I'm sure you can get more complex and all that kind of stuff, right? But just the simple fact that you can recombo now after Saiyaman, after doing a super jump, you don't need to burn your homing dash. And the down heavy, even with no smash property, gives so much hit stun. You can homing dash after the fact and all that. Just so much more is possible with Videl combo-wise. And I'm sure we'll be figuring out a lot more of that with time to come. Other characters to mention, obviously, Gotenks has so much more in the way of combo routes. If you do not follow Lord Shikoto on Twitter already, check him out. He's the undisputed Gotenks king. Janemba with the EX Hellgate change. Like, there's going to be a lot more combo routes with that. And all the frame data stuff for Gogeta, it helps. It's not bad. He's got a new lease on life. So yeah, and of course there's more characters I'm not mentioning as well. Please forgive me. There's a lot to go over in this patch. But yeah, so basically a lot of people are winners, except for those who aren't. Because let's talk about them. So Goku Black, Frieza, and Zamasu. Let's talk about them. Especially Zamasu, we've been talking a lot about lately before the patch, as someone in desperate need of help. And unlike, say, a Jiren, who definitely got a lot of love, Videl got a lot of love, Blue Vegeta got a lot of love, you know, characters people talk about being bad a lot, right? Zamasu, nothing. Key Blast still whiffs on Croucher, still whiffs on the rat characters. Like, nothing about his issues have been addressed. And, like, I've belabored the point in a million videos about all of his problems, so I don't want to go over it again and again and again. But just nothing. And hey, let's talk Frieza, right? Frieza. His down heavy being a projectile, it's been a problem since day one, basically, right? And it's only gotten worse because guess what? Master Roshi's in the game now, and let's show you a fun interaction for Frieza. So Roshi doesn't have the traditional super dash and all that kind of stuff, right? So he either does the hop or he Kamehamehas his way in. So let's stop it. Okay, here we go. I got the timing set. I got the bot set. I'm going to crank your head in, boy. Oh. Oh. Okay. So yeah, he can't stop Roshi from getting in whenever Roshi wants. That's basically the story of that. So for the most part, when Roshi connects, that means he gets in whenever he feels like it. You can beat him if you do it like very early. Like you have to like get him before he's even on top of you. But otherwise, if you're just like reacting to it, nah. So yeah, fun for Frieza. And Frieza's someone, like he's not bad to be sure, right? But like he could have used a little love. But this one long-standing addressing issue of this, and the fact like someone like Dragon Ball Z Broly, Big Broly, can like laugh him off for free. And now we have another character in the game that causes problems. So that's not great for him. And Goku Black, man, Goku Black technically got buffed. His B assist got a range buff. Do you feel it? Does this feel buff to you? You feel the extra range on this one, boys? Because, yeah, it's laughable. Laughable. It should have went full screen. This should go full screen. Screw it. Give him something to work with. Especially because he has a beam assist, right? Like, so it's already, even though he himself maybe is not the best character, having the beam assist is always welcome. And then, yeah, so like before, this would have whiffed at round start position. But if you take even like a step back, it whiffs anyway. So yeah, that's the totality of that range buff. In the visual guide, I actually had a whole section where I was like screaming at the game. And I cut that out because I don't think it was appropriate for the video. But here, since we're talking about winners and losers, then yeah, definitely big time loss. Character has been stagnant since, like, I don't know, the first 2 months of the game. Yeah, in the first 2 months of the game, we all thought Goku Black was the best character in the game. Whatever. We were all stupid back then. We didn't know what's up, right? Now we do. And this guy is just slumming it. And the baby range buff on the B assist, so like they actually took time to do something with him. Yeah, it's laughable. It's stupid. So suffice to say, with Frieza's very long-standing issue not being addressed, Goku Black getting a laughable change and nothing being addressed, and Zamasu literally being fully unchanged, these guys are definitely the losers of the patch. So overall, this patch definitely is a home run. It's a slam dunk. It's whatever sports analogy you want to give it to, right? It's great. So, man, like so many people got a lot of what they need. The only thing I can fault it for is not everyone got what they need. And who knows, I guess we'll have to wait for Season 4 now, and we still got 2 more DLC characters before we can even think about that. And who knows who those people are going to be, right? But yeah, so that's it. So that all said, I guess I want to retire Jiren Head. Jiren Head, you did a lot for us. You got us through some hard times. We got Jiren where he needed to be. So giant floating Jiren Head, thank you very much, and Godspeed. And my friends, that is the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.